Coming up on Your Money and Your Life, avoiding financial friction, how couples can get on the same page about money. Should you switch to E10 while petrol prices are high? We hit the streets to find out if you're getting ahead or just getting by. Plus, in Kochie's Budget Challenge, surprises in store for savvy deal hunter Brandon. G'day and welcome to Your Money and Your Life, the personal finance show aimed at helping you save, spend, invest and enjoy your money to the fullest. Today we're kicking off with Kochie's Budget Challenge. Each week, with the help of the team at Compare the Market, we dive into the real bills and budgets of Australians to see if we can find you better deals. Last week, we met Brandon, one of my toughest challenges yet. He saves money on everything: energy, kitchen appliances, even furniture or lack of it. But could there be gaps in Australia's savviest deal hunters' bills?
I think Kochie's going to struggle to try and find ways to save me money, but I think that it's certainly possible that he might.
Brandon, last week, you fairly aggressively set us a pretty big challenge. Let me tell you, it was a big challenge. It's the biggest challenge I think we've ever done in this segment. Let's put it to the ultimate test and see if we can find a bit more. Now, we asked the comparison experts at Compare the Market to take a look, not to change the things that are working, you're obviously completely on top of that, but also look at some of the set and forget things that may have skipped your mind. Now, first of all, your rent vesting in terms of property. Why? What's the strategy there?
The expenses related to my investment property are tax deductible because I'm not living there. And also the value of the property and the rent that I get is a lot higher than where I'm currently living.
It's a really good strategy. Because you're a wizard at this, you've already refinanced with a clever strategy. You've split the loan, got yourself a variable rate on part, fixed rate on the larger portion, and given the interest rate environment, that was a really good decision to make. One thing you probably haven't looked at for a while is your landlord's insurance. That's costing you around $478 a year. You say you've used a broker, never shopped around. The team at Compare the Market have looked and found you similar options starting at around $315.
Oh, okay.
Instead of the $478. Now, the trade-off is a slightly higher excess, about $20 more if you claim, but that's potentially about $163 a year. So a few thought starters there.
I was a little bit surprised that, I could save a little over $100 for a comparable landlord insurance policy. That is one of the few things that I actually hadn't shopped around, and I've just relied on the broker.
Health insurance. You're on a solid policy, older policy, a hospital policy. They actually don't hand these out anymore, would you believe?
Yeah.
Why, you knew that?
Yeah, I knew that.
Surely you can't put anything past this bloke. All right, so you're on top of that. But the team at Compare the Market are wondering if you're paying for cover you might not need right now. Things like pregnancy, cataracts, and a few higher cost categories like sleep studies and joint replacements that you're not going to use. If you're comfortable dropping a few of these categories for now and lifting your excess to $750, we found a policy that could cut your premium by around $710 a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you'd lose joint replacements and cancer cover, which is something you've told us you'd like to keep for now. So maybe think about that. It's not right or wrong, it's what you're comfortable with and what's right for you. Now, this fund is also offering 6 weeks free at the moment. So that's a difference, I suppose, just under $1,000.
Yeah. With the health insurance policy, I was a little bit surprised at how much cheaper it would be if I didn't have some of the things included.
The big takeaway from this, and what everyone watching should be inspired by you, is read the fine print, keep on top of your bills, and the sticky ones, the ones that you've been with for a reasonably long period of time, is where the biggest savings comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. Switching providers with most things is the number one way to save that I'd save money.
For being a great sport and sharing terrific tips. The team at Compare the Market would love you to accept $1,000 to put towards your savings.
I won't say no.
No. I had an idea you wouldn't. But, mate, it's been terrific to chat. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Good on you, Brandon.
I need to consult my financial advisor, Madeline, my cat, to see where she wants the money to be spent.
After the break, the one thing that could make an enormous difference to how you retire. Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Now, superannuation is one of the biggest financial assets most Australians will ever have, but many people aren't sure if they're making the most of it. According to research from Brighter Super, Australians who plan early are nearly twice as comfortable in retirement with significantly higher super balances. So, how do you know if you're on track? And when is it worth getting advice? Lisa Kay, Chief Member Officer at Brighter Super, is here to tell us more. Let's start with the basics. Why is advice so important in super?
Advice is important in super because there are so many decisions that you can make along the way that will really change your outcome in retirement. Those decisions could be as simple as the contributions you make, the investment choice that you have, the way you manage your superannuation throughout your life. Those decisions can really alter the end outcome in retirement. The guidance you can get through superannuation and the advice you get with a financial advisor can create a plan for you individually that gets you to the end outcome that will be a comfortable retirement for you and your family.
Okay. A lot of people, though, say advice is only for the wealthy. Is that the case?
No, not at all, David. There are so many options your superannuation fund could be providing that you may not be aware of. If you check out the website for your superannuation fund, you'll find that there are tools and there are calculators. Most funds will do seminars and webinars to help with the education process to guide you along the way. And those webinars and seminars can really help you determine what's right for you. At Brighter Super, we do super health checks for our members when they're going through their accumulation phase, right into pre-retirement. We do retirement health checks with our financial advisors to give you a sense of you individually, what retirement could look like for you and how you are going to retire on track and comfortably.
Great. So at what moment should I get advice?
Advice can be done all throughout your working life. So if you think about when you're starting out, you've got a lot of decisions that you could make that you could set and forget for quite a few years. So when you're really young, it's about your contributions, it could be about your investment choice, and it could also be about the insurance that sits within your superannuation. When you get to the middle of your career, you tend to have a little bit more cash flow, so it might be about increasing your contributions or salary sacrificing. It might be about the investment option that you've chosen, right through to as you're pre-retiree, there are so many decisions you need to make to prepare for retirement, as well as when you're going into retirement. Advice can help at all of those stages.
But a lot of people leave it till close to retirement. They'll say, oh, I'll just worry about my super later. What risk are they at?
It's actually an opportunity risk. There are so many opportunities along the way that you could have taken that would have grown your superannuation.
What would you say to someone who's a bit unsure about whether they need advice at all?
Well, if you're asking yourself those questions, how much do I need to retire? Will I have a comfortable retirement? Is my super balance big enough? And how long will it last? How does that fit with age pension? And will I be able to retire when I want to retire? Then advice is for you. So I would always say, start with your superannuation fund to see what advice they offer so that you can take advantage of that first. And if you need to get advice about a more holistic solution in your life, then most superannuation funds can help you with an external advisor that specialises.
Great advice, Lisa. A little guidance can go a long way.
Certainly does. Thank you.
Global private credit versus Australian private credit. What's the difference?
Australians are already comfortable investing in global companies on the share market. The global private credit market follows a similar idea, but instead of buying equity in businesses, you're investing in loans made to corporations and benefiting from their contractual and secured nature. Importantly, you don't have the same levels of volatility that can be associated with investing in shares. So everyday investors can now earn income from the interest paid by those companies on those loans. Locally, Australian private credit only makes up about 10% of the market, typically concentrated in property. Globally, it's a far more broad, more mature market offering greater potential for diversification. For a long time, this kind of global exposure wasn't accessible for everyday investors. Now that's changed. Platforms like Term Plus open the door through high-yield fixed-term accounts with options of 1, 2, or 5 years and monthly income targets designed to move in lockstep with the RBA cash rate. You can choose to take monthly returns as payments directly into your bank account or reinvest for compounding over time. Visit termplus.com.au for more. Remember, always seek financial advice before making investment decisions.
Still to come, the secrets to financial harmony, a couple's guide to managing money. Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Now, we all know relationships can be complicated, but for many Aussies right now, it's not bad habits or lack of romance causing tension at home, it's money. Research from Relationships Australia has found nearly 80% of Aussies experience relationship pressures in the past 6 months, with the rising cost of living one of the biggest causes. But experts say couples who communicate well about money are often not only happier, they can build more wealth together as well. So what does a financially healthy relationship actually look like? Financial wellness coach Betsy Westcott joins us now. Betsy, why is money so emotional in a relationship?
Because it's never just about the money. You know, money really is an emotional topic and it represents things that we really hold dear to us, feelings of security, safety, trust, agency, freedom. So when we have discussions around money, it runs much deeper, which is why it's so often quite fraught and can really cut deep if we're not having a good conversation around money. And a lot of people think, you know what, more money, less problems, but actually that's not the case. What the research shows is that couples that can communicate effectively around money have a much greater outcome of having a harmonious relationship than those that simply have a big income.
Okay, so what areas of finance should each person in the relationship be across?
Okay, there's 6 things that everybody needs to know, and if you don't know them, then this is your homework to go away and do. So first thing you need to know is what bank accounts do we have, who owns them, what receives money, and what's the money going out? And so that really ties into your cash flow. How much do we actually earn and where's it going? Are we just spending? Are we building wealth? Speaking of wealth, superannuation is a really big topic. We know Australians are quite apathetic to their super sometimes, but you know, where is the super? Does it have any insurances sitting inside it? And what happens to that super when someone dies? Then it's your other investments. What's the structures around them? Are they trusts, companies, other investments? Who are your advisors? And it's so important that as a couple, that both of you have a strong relationship with your financial advisor, your accountant, your broker. Then it's your debts. What debts do you have? Do you both own them? Is one of you responsible for them? And what happens thereafter?
Lib and I set aside 15 minutes, usually goes longer, what we call our money love session every month, where we just talk about money. Not who spent what on the credit card bill, but just what are our financial goals? Are we on track with them? What's stressing us? Because we each have different stresses.
Yeah.
So should you be setting aside time and making it part of a habit?
Absolutely. I'm so happy that you do that, although I'm not surprised. But yes, every month you should have at least one check-in, as you said. What are our goals? What are our stresses? Come there as a team with that team mindset. Once a quarter, you know, really just check in on your tracking. Do we need to tweak anything? Has anything changed? And annually have a reset and make it really fun. You know, start dreaming, aligning on what are your goals, what's changed in our family that we need to navigate. And for those that have really healthy relationships, there's 4 things that they do. 1 is they have a shared vision of the future that they're trying to build toward. 2, they have an alignment on how they make decisions. They're done as a team, not unilaterally. They have a really happy and productive, open communication regularly. And 4, this often surprises people, but they actually have fun. Money shouldn't be this big, torturous burden. Yeah. It should be something that is a source of connection and enjoyment for the 2 of you.
So when should you start talking about money in a relationship? Obviously not the first date, that could kill the romance, but, but how far in?
When you first start dating someone, you might not want to exchange tax returns necessarily, but you do want to observe what is that person's relationship with money? How do they talk about it? How do they behave with it? And start to assess if there's alignment there. When you start merging your finances, maybe you are moving in together or planning holidays together, renting together, things like that, that's when you need to have more open conversations around income, shared expenses, how you're going to handle them, and how you're going to make decisions. When you're really committing to each other and merging finances, full transparency is essential. Understanding income, debts, investments, strategy, who's going to help us along the way, how do we make those decisions? So it really escalates as your relationship becomes more committed.
And not to put too much of a downer on it, if one partner insists on total control, that's a massive red flag in the relationship, isn't it?
Absolutely. You have to stay engaged as a financial team. You might have different skills, and some of you might be stronger or more engaged than others, but you can never completely abdicate from the finances in your family. The moment you do that, that's the moment that you hand over control of your life.
Betsy, it is such great advice. Thank you for sharing. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Coming up on Your Money and Your Life, are you getting ahead with your money in this cost of living crunch, and how? Now to a question dividing drivers at the petrol pump. Is E10 petrol bad for your car? With fuel prices sky high, it's time to bust this motoring myth. E10 is regular unleaded petrol blended with up to 10% ethanol. A recent survey found compared to 98 premium, the average cost saving across 6 cities was 24 cents a litre. Drivers with a 50-litre tank who fill up once a week could claw back $624 over a year. But despite being cheaper, many Australians still avoid E10. Research from Compare the Market has found nearly half of Aussies don't intend to switch.
Look, it's not surprising because old habits die hard.
The truth is, for most modern cars, E10 is perfectly fine to use. James Ward is from drive.com.au.
You don't need to be putting 95 or 98 in your car. You can actually just save money by putting 91 or E10 in if your car doesn't say that it needs anything higher. And in fact, you may notice a sticker that just says E10 on the inside of your fuel flow.
But there is a catch. E10 contains slightly less energy than regular 91.
You may use 1 to 3% more fuel to travel the same distance, which can cancel out the initial savings.
There are other ways to save at the petrol bowser too. Use a fuel comparison app before filling up. Compare the Market's Simple's fuel app makes it easy to look for the cheapest prices near you. Take advantage of shopper docker discounts and deals from motoring groups, and never stay loyal to the one servo.
Prices at servos can vary wildly, even just one street or one suburb away.
Because in this cost of filling up crisis, every cent counts. In this week's Word on the Street, with prices rising in every direction, we asked if you're getting ahead financially or just getting by.
I think I'm ducking and diving a bit. I would say I'm getting by, but trying to put some savings away sparingly.
The mortgage is a big factor. The rates have just gone up again. I think we'd be naive to not see them go up again this year. So certainly it doesn't feel like we're thriving financially.
I am restricting where I go in terms of just car usage, and I'm using public transport a lot more. A bit more consideration and intention in terms of like where I'm spending my money, also how I'm using my time, so slight lifestyle changes.
I would say at the moment getting ahead. I've recently moved home from living out of home for the past 5 years, so a lot of my income for the last 5 years was going straight out into rent. I'm still filling up cars, so obviously fuel is very expensive, and buying the occasional groceries does add up as well.
Definitely a lot less money on makeup and hair and like fun things like that. I try, and when I'm going out with my friends, we try and go to places that have specials. We're getting pretty familiar with Sydney's best happy hours.
Well, that's all for this episode of Your Money and Your Life. I hope you've enjoyed the show and picked up a few tips along the way. For the latest news and insights, head to ymyl.com.au, and while you're there, sign up to my free weekly newsletter. It's delivered straight to your inbox every Friday. Thanks so much for watching. Next week on Your Money and Your Life, is it better to pay extra money into your mortgage or buy more shares? We uncover whether solar panels can reduce your electricity bill to zero. Grady Wolf reveals her stock of the week. And in Kochie's Budget Challenge, we visit an Adelaide family for a bill checkup.